The diver didn't expect to find anyone alive. He was sent down to recover bodies. 12 men had been on that boat. 12 men, and the ocean had taken all of them. Or so everyone thought. At the bottom of the Atlantic, 30 meters down, in total darkness, something moved. A hand. His name was Harrison Okene. He was 29 years old. A cook, not a sailor, not a diver, a cook. He had worked on boats for years, preparing meals, keeping the crew fed, staying below deck while others handled the sea. He had a wife. He had a life waiting for him on land. May 26, 2013. The tugboat, Jascon 4, was on a routine mission off the coast of Nigeria, stabilizing an oil tanker in the Atlantic. 12 men on board. Rough seas. Nothing unusual. Harrison was exactly where he always was. Below deck. Alone. It was 5 in the morning. Harrison was in the bathroom. That detail matters. Remember it. He didn't hear a warning. There was no alarm. No time to react. The boat just dropped. In seconds, the jascon 4 capsized and began sinking, fast, violently, 30 meters straight down. The water came in everywhere at once. Through the walls, through the ceiling, through the floor. In total darkness, Harrison felt the world flip upside down. He couldn't see anything. He couldn't hear anything except water. And somewhere above him, or below him now, he couldn't tell, 11 other men were fighting for their lives. None of them made it. He crawled. In the dark, in the cold, through corridors that were now ceilings, through rooms that were now graves. He didn't know where he was going. He just knew he had to move. And then, air. A bucket. Small, maybe 4 feet high, trapped between the rising water and the hull of the capsized boat. He pressed his face into it and breathed. For a moment, just a moment, he was alive. But the water was still rising. Slowly, steadily, inch by inch. The air bucket was shrinking. Harrison did the only thing he could do. He stood still. And he waited. 30 meters below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean, Harrison Okene stood in a space barely large enough to hold him, and waited for something he wasn't sure was coming. At some point, the sounds changed. Something was moving through the water around him. Sharks, attracted by the bodies of his crewmates. Harrison didn't move. He barely breathed. Hours passed. He doesn't know how many. Time stops meaning anything in the dark. He thought about his wife. He prayed. And he stood there, in the dark, alone, at the bottom of the ocean. On the surface, the search had already ended. The jascon 4 went down fast. Too fast for a rescue. The families were notified. 12 men lost at sea. Harrison's wife was told her husband was dead. Below the surface, Harrison had no way of knowing any of this. He only knew 3 things. The air was getting thinner. The water was getting higher. And no one was coming. 3 days after the jascon 4 sank, a dive team was sent down. Not to rescue anyone. To recover bodies. They descended through 30 meters of dark water toward a capsized tugboat that had become a tomb. And then, one of them felt it. A hand, reaching out from the darkness. Touching his arm, the diver recoiled. His heart stopped. And then the hand waved. He was alive. Getting Harrison out was almost as dangerous as leaving him there. After 60 hours at 30 meters depth, his blood was saturated with nitrogen. Bringing him straight to the surface would have killed him. They guided him to a diving bell, a pressurized capsule designed to bring divers safely back to the surface. Harrison lost consciousness during the transfer. He spent 2 more days in a decompression chamber before he could breathe normal air again. When he finally came out, he asked about his crew. And that's when they told him. He was the only one. All 11 men gone. Harrison went home, back to his wife, back to his life. But the ocean came with him. At night, he would wake up screaming, telling his wife the bed was sinking, that they were underwater, that the water was coming in. He swore he would never go near the ocean again. 2 years later, Harrison Okene became a certified commercial diver. The man who swore he would never touch the ocean again went back into it. Not because he had to, because he chose to. The rescue diver who found him at the bottom of the ocean, the one whose arm Harrison had reached out and touched in the dark, was the one who handed him his diving certificate. The ocean took 11 men that night. It tried to take a 12th, but Harrison Okene stood in the dark at the bottom of the Atlantic for 60 hours and refused. He didn't have a radio. He didn't have a signal. He didn't have a way out. He had air, he had faith, and he had a reason to come home. Sometimes that's enough. This video is dedicated to the 11 crew members of the Jascon 4 who never made it home that night. May their stories never be forgotten. Harrison's story was so extraordinary that in 2019, it became a book. Written by Virginia Lohagan and published by 45th Parallel Press, Harrison Okene, 60 Hours Underwater, is part of the True Survival series. Real stories of survival that needed to be told. If this story stayed with you, you know what to do. There are more of them, and will be here.